Hey there. Welcome to the Pine Island Experience podcast. I'm Joanna Anderson with my husband, Trygve. Each of our episodes will be conversations with fellow Pine Islanders.
The goal of our podcast is to share with you our experiences, what we have found to be fun, and what makes the Pine Island experience so unique.
Yes, we were really excited about the podcast because I feel like half of the battle is getting people to come into the pawn shop because of the stigma. And I think once they meet us and we realize a family's running it, somebody who's from here, from Lee County, and they're just easy to talk to, you know what I mean? Most people come in and they're super sweet humans. I think the pawn name just kind of keeps them away. But if they get past that, I think they'll really enjoy being inside.
Yeah, and if people are curious if they have something of value that we might be interested in, they can send us an email to that email with photos and describing what they have. And then I can at least give them an idea if it's something that we can take, whether to bother to bring it in or not.
Get ready to meet Zac and Thristina Woodhams, the dynamic duo behind Pine Island Pawn and Jewelry in Matlacha. They joined us on the podcast to share their journey of opening the shop, their passion for the community, and their excitement about welcoming customers. From explaining the ins and outs of the pawn business to showcasing unique jewelry and art, Zac and Thristina are bringing something special to Pine Island. Tune in as they share their story, their vision, and what makes their shop a must-visit. And now, here are Zac and Thristina. We have Zac and Thristina Woodhams from Pine Island now, who own the Pine Island Pawn and Jewelry Shop in Matlacha. You've been there not quite a year. I know you started opening and then had a grand opening a little bit later. And it looks lovely when you drive by.
Thank you.
And you can see it because it takes a little while to get through Matlacha so we can look at your store. So it's wonderful. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we've actually been open. This is our 7th week now. We bought the building last year, but permitting and the storms and renovation, we didn't get open till late January.
So you were here for the 2 hurricanes?
Yeah, Milton and whatever the other one was. Helene. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Thought you missed that.
Every time we get about 3 foot of water inside, but we've built it now to where the tile comes up about 5 foot up the walls. That way that we can just rinse it out and get back to business.
There you go. You improved it.
Mm-hmm.
Well done.
It was all his idea.
Oh. Well, we always start in the beginning, where you're from, where you were born, where you grew up, how'd you get together, and then eventually, how did you end up on Pine Island?
Well, I've been here for 9 generations of Floridians. Zac was actually born in Lee Memorial, so he's a native as well. We have a house in North Fort Myers now. We have 1 kid together. We met 15 years ago. We've been married 15 years, but we met 15 years ago because my aunt owned a towing company, and he worked there, and I kind of went there to do odd and end things for her to help out for through the business every day. And we kind of met each other by just being in there. We've been together ever since.
Yeah, that was true. We got married the same year we met each other. So,
and I actually asked him to marry me 2 months after I met him. I just looked at him like, I think we should get married. And he's like, sure.
So you knew?
Yeah, right away. We got married at the courthouse. We didn't have like a big wedding at first. And it was the first time I had ever done anything that I knew my parents weren't going to be absolutely proud of, because I went to the courthouse and didn't do the whole. So my mom got a hold of me because I'm the only daughter. And she was like, absolutely not. You will have a wedding in January. Ooh. So our anniversary is November, but our actual wedding date was January.
Moms, huh?
Yeah, she was like, absolutely not. You're my only daughter and you're the oldest. My only wedding I'm going to plan. No, ma'am.
And I read where you actually spent time in Hawaii too.
We did. We've been back 2 years now, 2.5 years now, but we spent about 2.5 years there. He had a friend that owned a company that we went over to work for, and we ended up loving it and staying. And our son got to be a part of a world that's completely different than ours. So it taught him a lot about understanding people when they're not from that place, maybe having different culture background, different aspects of life. He doesn't judge as quickly as some kids would or make fun, because he grew up a little bit different. You know, my mom had a group home, and then we lived in Hawaii, so he understood what it meant to stand out.
And then Pine Island, how did you discover it? I mean, well, you knew it was here because you grew up here, right?
Yeah, I went to school with a bunch of kids that lived out here. So I spent a lot of time out here as a youth fishing, and I fished that bridge more times than I can count. And then, you know, when we decided to open a business, we said, who needs this the most? You know, there's shops in Cape Coral, North Fort Myers, Fort Myers. There's no shop on Pine Island. So I know the Islanders, they're stuck traveling, you know, to South Cape or North Fort Myers if they want to get a small loan or sell some gold or something. So figured this would be a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
So which island in Hawaii were you on?
Oahu.
Oahu. I figured when you were saying another company. So you swapped Oahu for Pine Island.
Yeah, one island for another.
Same climate,
That's
kinda.
a natural progression, right?
Right.
Kind of an isolated lifestyle, although far more so on Oahu than anything else. Is there a season there?
No, it's the same temperature year round.
No, I'm sorry, tourist season.
Tourist season?
Obviously,
No.
you know there's a lot more people
Same.
here.
It's tourist season year round.
All year
there.
round.
Year round?
Yeah.
Okay.
Waikiki
Every
stays
weekend they
busy.
get like 150,000 tourists. I mean, the island runs on tourism, so they have to have that.
They welcome it.
But
It's
as
a
a
big part of
local,
who
it's
they are.
aggravating because you can't go anywhere. Every restaurant has a line. You know, every store, the parking lot's full. You know, so you just school shopping at Target. We would have to be the week before, 2 weeks before when
There was a line
when they
wrapped around
did the
the
free
building.
tax week or whatever. We go school shopping and the line leaves Target and goes all the way down the plaza, and they're at max capacity. So as people leave, they let people in.
Like
Yeah.
a theme park, kind of.
So yeah, it's that part was rough, you know. So much happier here with traffic, and I know the traffic can stink on Pine Island, but it's nothing to that Hawaii traffic.
So had you run pawn shops before? You mentioned working for a towing company, and a friend had a business. So how'd you get introduced to that kind of industry, if you will?
Well, her family has had a couple of the Larry's pawn shops, and so I ran one of those stores, open to close 6 days a week for almost 8 years. Got plenty of experience sitting behind that desk there. And then we moved away, went to Hawaii. I did something totally different. And now we're back, do it on my own without the family.
And what was some of that decision process? It's, as I've always kind of said, it's kind of comforting in many ways to be an employee. You know, somebody else makes the big decisions and you come in and you put your time in and those kinds of things. Now you flip over to owning your own business. So it's the business, obviously you had experience, but the additional challenges, you need bookkeeping and permits and all these other things to get going. I mean, what kind of drove that decision? I mean, I think it's everybody's dream, but like what actually motivated you to go in business for yourself?
Honestly, I had a good friend of mine who asked me if I could spend some of his money. I made it happen. I mean, he was looking for somebody. He just finished a successful business venture, and so he had extra capital and said, "Man, I know what you know. You know, you looking to do anything?" And I said, "Oh, I'd love to start a pawn shop." So
There was no way we were going to pass up such an opportunity. I mean, he opened up a door for us that we weren't able to open ourselves. Even though we had the knowledge and the experience, it wasn't going to help us open any extra doors. And he walked on and it did. And it's been amazing. We're so thankful for him.
and he's just a silent partner. He just gave us the
Amazing.
loan, and we started the business. So
It was meant to be then.
Yeah, it was the
Absolutely.
perfect time. We're at the age where we're not young kids anymore. We had a family, we had our roots. We had traveled a little and came back, and we realized that we didn't want to be anywhere else. Florida is our home. That's where we're from. My mom had gotten sick, and we realized really quickly that we needed to be closer to family. So when we made the decision to come back, he found out we were back and came and was like, okay, I think it's time. I think everything just lined up perfectly.
So we've been talking about pawn shops. Maybe you can take us through, for those that don't know, including ourselves, kind of what is a pawn shop? How does it work? What are the benefits and why would somebody go to a pawn shop?
Well, pawn shop is like the third oldest business in America. the symbol is three balls. It stands for buy, sell, and trade. Pawn shop is great. Honestly, they had a stigma years ago because there was not a lot of regulation on them, and a lot of stolen items ended up in a pawn shop and sold, and people would lose track of them. In the last 30 years or so, that has changed. Regulation is super stiff with the pawn shop. So now when people sell an item to us or they come get a loan on an item, everything daily is sent digitally to the sheriff's department so they can see what's being pawned and who pawned it and their thumbprint and their ID. So if they do pawn something stolen, they're caught red-handed. So a pawn shop is a place where you can come get a collateral loan on something of value. So if you need to borrow $100, you bring in your TV, that's worth, $400, I'll loan you $100, and then you come back, you pay the month's interest plus the money I loaned you, and you get your TV back. And then in the case that you can't come back and get it, we end up keeping it and throwing it on the shelf and reselling it. In the same token, you don't have to get a loan. You can just come sell us items of value, and we'll give you the best price we can for them. Now, when a pawn shop takes in an item, whether it's a pawn or a buy, they have to hold the item in the back of the store for 30 to 60 days. That gives the sheriff's department their due diligence time to go over our files and make sure nothing's stolen. So, actually it can be a help to the community. A lot of times, these criminals aren't very smart. So they steal something and then they go sell it to the pawn shop. Instead of selling it on the street, you may never find your item. If it gets sold to the pawn shop and you report it as stolen, you're going to get your item back.
You have your ID. You have your
they do
thumbprint.
have to, you will have to come and pay what we gave the person that pawned it to us for. But then you're able to get that back in restitution.
And usually it's a fraction of what it's actually valued at anyways, because we don't sell things for full value and we don't buy things for full value.
Right.
It's a perfect trade.
And this is probably a Hollywood metaphor too. It seems like the old metaphor was always musicians tend to be, like you'd see it was probably just a set, but it's like, guitars and drums are in there. I mean,
yeah, music instruments are big in pawn shops.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah. We haven't gotten any yet so far, but normally it's an item that is valuable that people can live without. Yes.
I would say tools too. Tools are easy to pick up on job sites, easy to bring in, but they have serial numbers on them. We can track them back.
Yeah, but I think musical instruments, jewelry, electronics, I think those are the main things people pawn, but we take anything of value. We're looking for some fishing equipment. We don't really have any nice fishing equipment yet, but being on the island, I know everybody needs a fishing pole out here. So,
now, is there do people on the buy side, they just want to sell it, they need the money. Do you ever see like buyer's remorse? Like they say, okay, I'll sell it to you. What you give it for? You two come to negotiate and you come to an agreement. Do they come back like in 2 weeks and said, I shouldn't have done that to you? Or is that?
I've seen it before. It's not very common. And a lot of times hasn't happened yet here, but when I worked at another pawn shop, if they come back and I've got their item in the showcase, I'm going to get them a heck of a deal, close to what they gave it to me for. Just because when they're ready to do it again, they're going to come back and bring me the necklace back because I did them right, And I believe in that you just got to do people right in life, and it comes back full circle always.
So you talked about the property acquisition preparing to get open. Take us through a little bit of the renovations and the permitting and the process to get a business open. I always kind of find that fascinating because I think people think like we just open your door, hung up the sign, and you're ready to go.
It was a jungle.
It was a hard situation. The storms didn't make it any easier for anybody. And I believe that some of the buildings that were damaged and had to be re-permitted and different things, they had to come back out and take a look at things. And they were like, oh no, that shouldn't have been like that in the first place. So then they were citing people for different things. Now, we didn't have that happen to us because we were a new purchaser. We bought the building in July and we were just starting new permits. So it was just all new stuff. Our stuff took a long time, but we didn't really have a whole lot of trouble. There were some things that were imposed upon us that we now see that probably didn't need to happen. There was a lot of regulations that they made us follow that didn't pertain to our business. But we just did what was asked of us, and we went through the inspections and we pulled the permits and we did what we were supposed to do.
Mhm.
And it all ended up working out and we got open.
Honestly, it was a tough process. The permitting alone, all we tried to do was change our back door from a single to a double door, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but boy, it was for them. They tried to jump us through hoops because the building had been unoccupied for at least for over a year. So they wanted us to do a whole new
Limited.
LDO,
Mhm,
limited
limited.
development order. They wanted engineered sewer plans, utilities, parking lot, landscape, all new face of the building.
But they wanted it to replicate 2015.
No, that's not yet. They wanted it brand new. And so we didn't know much about this. So we went to a civil engineer because he's there who's going to do it. And we're looking at like $30,000 and 2 to 3 years. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't have 2 to 3 years, And so we were kind of stuck talking to the county, talking to the engineers. And then my wife made a call to the county commissioner for our district. And the next morning I had the director of permitting calling us, trying to work it out.
For like 4 months, we couldn't get anybody on the phone or anybody to talk to us. I made one phone call and they were calling me.
Yeah. And they said, we're going to work this out. How can we get this done? And so they worked it out and we got our permits going and we finally got the doors open. But I mean, thank goodness for the county commissioner, because
Yes,
without
Mr. Kevin did an amazing
his
job
help,
for our
I don't know
business.
if we'd ever got the doors open.
Yeah. He's very passionate. People don't realize how much he does care about the county. And he was one of the only government officials to actually stand up and say, okay, look, we need to help these people. We need to do something about this because Matlacha needs to be back open. I thought that was really amazing of his office. And his assistant, I believe her name's Odette. She was amazing too.
The fire department tried to bring us through the ringer a bit. And we have a tiny building built in 1946. It's 1,400 square feet. It doesn't have a large occupancy, it's a pawn shop. And they had we've got fire sprinklers in there. The only building in Matlacha with fire sprinklers.
That was quite a bit of money to
Blue
get
Dog's
those.
got
put up.
110 person occupancy and they don't have fire sprinklers. So they came in and they made us go and add more fire sprinklers and do all this extra work that I felt was unnecessary. But I just feel like they're trying to make everybody's life difficult. I don't understand why, but
There were buildings that were surrounding us that lost their roof in that storm within 14 days of being back on the island. Now that was after the bridge was
it
opened.
was the last storm that had the tornadoes.
Yeah, and they put a huge notice on the owner's building saying that they needed to have it demolished or repaired, or it would become theirs after only a certain amount of time.
Within 30 days. This was a
Something like
30-day
that.
notice. 14 days after a storm, they had a 30-day notice on the window.
I just felt like it was very unfair to those people because they've been here for a long, long time and they've owned property down there and they've rented to people who needed to open those businesses. And I thought that they were treated very unfairly. And that was sad because they didn't deserve
It's
it.
no
They just
surprise
lost a lot
to
of
me
things.
that honestly that Matlacha isn't back up booming yet.
But it will
they're
be.
They're not making it easy for anybody. And it takes you banging your head against the wall to get anything done.
But on a positive note, from being inside the store, we get like a panoramic view between the patrons that come in, the other business owners and islanders versus, people who are traveling here for leisure. And we get to hear what people say in their comments, and we'll tell you that Matlacha is on its way back. And I can give hope in the light of rebuilding because of the fact that I've heard people, there are some people that are paying $60,000, $70,000 to get the studies done to have the seawall built there by the bridge back. So I know that it's going to come back. It's just going to take time.
You mentioned taking anything of value, which makes sense. But you also touched on music, electronics. Does that include like photography equipment, et cetera?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's kind of a big umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stereos, TVs.
Anything that has a resale value.
Okay.
If there's a market somewhere, it doesn't have to be here. If there's a market, across the world for it, if it's something of value that I can sell, I'll take it.
And did you have to kind of start with empty shelves or did you kind of seed the inventory? I don't know if that's a good term.
That's the proper term, probably. We did seed the store. We went to Vegas to the largest gold show in the world.
JCK show.
And then we went to Miami, which was about 6 months later, which is second largest gold show in the world. And we bought a bunch of jewelry. I mean, that was the easiest part. And it's not at the price we'd like to have it because we had to buy it from the jewelers. It's not something that I bought in a pawn transaction.
Yes, okay.
I could get it at a better price that way, and then that way I can sell it at a better price for everybody. So I did have to seed the store with some base jewelry, and I'm honestly not making much on any of it just so I can have stuff in the store. And then we had some knickknacks and few things that we could seed the store with as far as general merchandise. But
we also had some friends bring in some items that they gave to us dirt cheap, just to get it out there and for the transaction to be legitimate. But we had some great friends that came in and brought us some cool things. We had a friend come in and bring some arrowheads, some pottery. I mean, that's awesome.
We did buy a lot of art from a fellow too before we opened.
We had one vendor that brought us a bunch of different art pieces.
Some general stuff. It's not full to where I want it, but it's got stuff to look at now. So
the jewelry, I was reading about. Well, what's a Glock watch?
I'm wearing one right now.
You're wearing one. Okay, I'll take a picture of that.
Glock, the gun company, has given their rights to a Danish watchmaker. So they're all automatic. They're high quality, Swiss movement, sapphire crystals, very nice watches. And they're very reasonable price. They like $300 to $800 depending on the watch. But
very on brand for Glock too. Very high functioning watches. He had a Movado. I buy him a Movado every 10 years that we're together. I told him he'll get a new one. Well, I bought one for our 10-year about 4 years ago, and he has replaced it with a Glock watch now.
I got to market it.
When she first said Glock watch, I thought, well, it's got to be a typo because I only knew Glock, the handgun or the gun manufacturer.
Well, there's only one other carrier here in town.
Duncan's Diamonds is the only one in Southwest Florida that sells Glock watches besides us. They're fairly new. I think they've been out maybe a year and a half. 2023
was their first set of watches, I do believe.
And speaking about Glock, we just had ATF last week, and they approved us for our firearms license. So
excellent.
That should be in the mail this week or next week, and then we can start procuring firearms for sale.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is that including that at pawn transactions? Or was that all bucketed under one thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can pawn a gun, and then I can also buy and sell guns.
Okay.
Like at the gun show, we can take our FFL and buy for the store.
So we're going to reach out to Glock and see, since we're selling their watches, if maybe we can get a line of their firearms as well. I don't know. We're a little guy.
Yes.
I know they're a big guy, so we'll see.
Yeah,
it'll look nice next to each other, the watches.
It will, and I have, since I sell the Glock watches, maybe they'll
do a package.
Right.
Buy a watch, get a gun.
I like that. I like that.
That's it.
There you go.
I like that Christmas gift set.
For sure.
What about the Wish bracelets?
The Wish bracelets are awesome. That's something that we picked up also at the Vegas Gold Show. Those come from Hawaii. It's a little small company. I think there's only like one other place that sells those as well in town. And it's you make a wish, and when it falls off, it's supposed to come true. It's really cute. On Wednesdays, we do a BOGO. So if you buy one, you get one.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
And then you have the Four Oceans.
Oh, Four Oceans is my absolute passion project. I love that place. When we opened our store, or that mission, when we opened our store, the only thing I asked my husband for to sell on my behalf was Four Oceans. Oh. I truly believe in the missions that they have. They're part of the 1%. It's two young surfers that started the whole entire thing, and now they go to different places. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Osborne Reef. It's basically, back in the day, we used to dump tires that were kind of chained together into the ocean. Well, over time, of course, they've corroded and caused different types of, chemicals and releasing in the water. Well, these guys go and get those tires and take them out, and they use the tire pieces to make bracelets. So these bracelets have like reused plastic on them. Some of them glow. Some of them are just braided. I have one on right now, actually, too. This one glows in the dark, and it's 3-tone. And they put people to work in like Bali and things, making the bracelets to help revenue there. It's just a great mission. If you go online, fourOceans.com, they're amazing. You can even get, for your own company, branded bracelets for your mission. And every bracelet that you purchase takes 5 pounds of trash out of our ocean. And it's here. It's all over. It's amazing. These guys are crazy cool at what they've done.
They're awesome. That Osborne Reef, when the bands that held the tires broke, the tires started scurrying across the seafloor, and it was like tumbleweeds. And so now the thing they were trying to create was a reef, and now these tires are rolling around, crashing into the actual reefs that are around and destroying them. So it was super counterproductive. It was a great thought, but it didn't work out in the long run.
The long-term effects of some of this stuff is sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. That looks like that was a pretty good fail.
Yeah.
I think it was a good idea. It was a good, they were trying to do something big with it, but the execution of it, they didn't realize the ramifications of the actions later on in life, all these years later. And when these guys found out about it, it was like a no-brainer. They all went there with teams and just started. And it's really cool how they take the materials and they make them into the bracelets. They also make other items too. They do like backpacks. They have like reusable plasticware for lunches and different things.
Reef Safe sunscreen.
Oh, we also sell the Reef Safe sunscreen. We only do the bracelets and the sunscreen now, but it's like a balm you can put on your face, and it's it won't hurt your reefs.
Like a zinc or something.
Yeah, it's like a thicker, I wouldn't use it on my whole body, but definitely on my face.
The other jewelry we have is
Willow's diamonds.
Willow Diamonds, which go ahead.
She's stationed out of New York. She's an amazing human being. Jacqueline Earl. She started off in textiles, and she worked with JCPenney's for a long time. And somebody just mentioned to her, "Have you ever thought about designing jewelry?" And she was like, "No." And she started with diamonds, and her stuff is beautiful. She has a line out right now that has jazz. They're called jazz hoops, and it's like it's a normal hoop, but it has about 9 diamonds that are hand drilled, so they don't sit in a casing and they forever move. So even if you're standing still, all of the diamonds are shimmering and they're just gorgeous.
Yeah, they're laser drilled.
Laser drilled. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I always say hand drilled.
They're not in a setting, so they dangle from tiny little gold rings off the hoop all the way around. You can't stay still enough. If you just breathing makes them shimmer. So
And that's real bling.
oh, real bling.
Yeah, and
If you're in
she's
any kind of
natural
light
diamond.
source, it's almost blinding. You can't keep.
You can't
keep
stop
still.
staring at her. And when we went to the gold show, they had all these big heavy hitters, because at the gold shows, it's all of the owners of these companies too that are there, because they're selling massive amounts of jewelry.
Yeah, like all the big companies, De Beers, name them, the owners.
They're all there.
You're not just dealing with
you're walking around the
salesmen.
owners of these companies, the creators of this jewelry, the actual artists behind it, which is so super cool because you can talk to them all and you get so much knowledge while you're there. But they have these huge monstrous booths that they build inside, like the Venetian, it was this last year. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but that place is humongous. And they had it on multiple levels. But she had one little tiny showcase that was literally like 6 foot long. And I walked all over there and I was exhausted. I had gotten lost from him in the group that we were with. And I was just kind of like walking around. And I happened to see this woman. I mean, she was obviously a beautiful woman because she was modeling jewelry, but I couldn't stop staring at her earrings. I'm like, this beautiful lady, and I can only look at these earrings. No other jewelry in the place caught my eye like that. And she's an amazing human. I accidentally broke a pair of the earrings, and she let me send them back, and she repaired them, no problem. And she's just an amazing human. We like working with her.
Mm-hmm.
So we bought several of her pieces. We got some of her hoops. We got some necklaces.
We got like a whole line, basically.
Yeah,
some
beautiful
necklaces, some
jewelry.
bunch of earrings,
And all of it's real delicate and real beautiful to lay it on you. Like all of her diamonds too are not lab grown. They're all natural diamonds.
It's one of a kind stuff. It's not box store. You're not going to see those at any jewelry store.
Well, it's great listening to both. You're so passionate about your inventory and you're in the right spot. I mean, it's art in Matlacha,
Yes, and we have resin jewelry too. So we don't just sell sterling silver and, gold. We also sell like wearable art. So like today I sold 2 pieces for $20. You get the necklace and the earrings, and the lady couldn't believe how cheap it was. Even though it's stainless, it's still a beautiful piece to wear to dinner, out, with your family. Or if you're buying it for a gift, if you're here on vacation, it's really nice to be able to take back something that doesn't cost $1 trillion, but is beautiful to wear.
A lot of people visiting want some sea life stuff, but they don't want to spend an arm and a leg because it costs so much to travel already.
When it can't be bulky, you got to be able to take it back too, on the traveling.
So we try and have something for all budgets.
There's been fairs like in Matlacha on the weekends, I've noticed.
Yes.
Does that bring more people in? Or?
It does. We had they had the Valentine's Day thing, and Mr. Ono, the jeweler down the street from us, he invited us to be at that festival. Didn't charge us anything because he's amazing, and it did cause a lot of traffic for our shop. We decided not to do a tent. we just opened our store because we were already open, and people came in and had a great time. Those little festivals are wonderful.
This may be a little bit hard to answer yet because you've only been open a relatively short amount of time, but with what you got done so far, are there things that you're starting to think about in terms of expansion? I know there's a limited set in your building, but different services or different kinds of inventories.
Yes, our dreams are endless. I feel like every day that we wake up and go in the shop, there's more things that we decide we want to do.
Yeah. Eventually, I'm going to send her and myself to jeweler's school. So we're going to start doing repairs and be able to set stones and resize rings, things of that nature.
I also want to do permanent jewelry. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but it's jewelry like certain chains that you have soldered straight on so that they don't come on and off. Yeah, and they're usually pretty delicate pieces, really nice links and stuff of just like solid gold.
Paperclip links and little thin links, but they just put them on, measure them to size, and solder them. There's no class. Yeah. They don't. So
that way
off.
You don't run the risk of losing your jewelry because 9 times out of 10, if I have it on, it's going to fall off or the clip is going to wear out over time.
The class is the weak link on those dainty
the rings
chains.
And the glass.
It's always the class or the little ring that holds the class breaks off. So with that, it's all soldered. It's the only way to do the little dainty jewelry. So that's something in the works. Soon we'll have rolls of those chains and the soldering equipment to do it. Just one more thing we're working towards.
I'm glad you have a lot of ideas. That's good too.
Yeah, we should be pretty busy for a long time over there.
We're full of ideas.
Some of them might not make it to the floor, but.
And then you're on Facebook. I saw that. And you're on Instagram, which is fantastic for your business. You just have to put the picture up there.
Yeah.
And they go together. Do you have a website now?
We have a web address. It's not built though.
Okay.
We do have a web address. It's just we haven't committed on the website yet.
It takes a long time to build something like that if you don't want to spend the money to do it. So I kind of looked into that. I like doing it, but it's very time consuming. So we might want to pick up somebody to finish that for us. But we also want to do a blog.
Have somebody build it for us. It's just until we have the store full of stuff, I don't really have a whole lot that I want to put online. I could sell all our stuff in our store probably on eBay within a week or two, but then I'm not going to have nothing in the store.
Right.
So once we get built up, then I'm going to worry about the website and, but for now we're just social media traffic.
And honestly, our website will be geared towards maybe like some of the questions you were asking us about pawns so that when people don't understand what it is, they'll get a little bit of education, and then we can have our blog linked to it too so people can read different things about jewelry and different stuff.
Well, I think I would guess for your business too, websites, not only they're hard to get up and going, they take a lot of time to maintain. So if somebody comes in and sells you something, social media allows you to take a quick pic, get it up and get it to people. By the time you go through the process of getting it up to the website, it can literally be sold by the time somebody decides to drive over and take a look at it.
Correct.
The instantaneous nature to the social media would seem to help.
Right. So for the website, I was more thinking we have like the Glock watches. We have a whole line of those. So it's something that
we're partnered
we
with.
could display. And if we sell one, I can get another one. And same thing with the Willow diamonds. So eventually we're going to have the website built to at least display the stuff we're partnered in because we can get more and more of those,
If we can go over where your store's located, hours of operation, et cetera.
Sure. We are in Matlacha between the two bridges or the two little bridges, I guess.
Across the street from the
Across
menagerie.
the street from the menagerie.
Wonderful place.
Yeah. I love the menagerie.
We love the owner.
Our hours are 9 to 6. It was 8:30 to 6:30. We've adjusted. We may adjust one more time too because I don't know that we've seen but one customer in 7 weeks after 5 o'clock. And I want to be open later hours for people getting off work if they need a quick loan. But if in a couple months that doesn't change, we'd probably end up closing at 5. But we're going to open at 9 every day.
You're not open on Sundays, are you?
Sundays are one day off. Yep.
Good.
Yeah, we got to go to church and rest sometime. So
And there could be a baseball game, right?
Yeah.
unfortunately, we never get a baseball game on a Sunday. It's never on our days off.
We usually have to divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Yeah, we usually have games in the evening, so one of us will have to leave a little early or games on a Saturday, we'll have to bring somebody else into the shop to work in our place.
Thank God we have people in our corner that are honest, hardworking humans that we've already trained. So they come in as needed. They all have another job. They kind of just help us on the weekends, which is cool.
And a phone number or an email address?
Sure. Phone number is 239-579-0051. And the email is info@premiumpawnshops.com.
And then you would recommend people just stop in and see you, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, we were really excited about the podcast because I feel like half of the battle is getting people to come into the pawn shop because of the stigma. And I think once they meet us and we realize a family's running it, somebody who's from here, from Lee County, and they're just easy to talk to. You know what I mean? Most people come in and they're super sweet humans. I think the pawn name just kind of keeps them away. But if they get past that, I think they'll really enjoy being inside with us.
Yeah, and if people are curious if they have something of value that we might be interested in, they can send us an email to that email with photos and describing what they have. And then I can at least give them an idea if it's something that we can take, whether to bother to bring it in or not.
And we're not really prone to it, but there has been like a situation where there was an elderly lady who had some items that she wanted to bring in and she wasn't inclined to take pictures and send them in. He even offered to go and meet with her. I mean, he has such a good heart. He will help.
Yeah, I went there and let her know what is good and what's not, and then she could bring it up so she's not stuck hauling all this stuff that we can't
We won't
take.
like take the items from somebody's house, but we'll at least go and eliminate some of the stress for people. She had just lost her husband. It was a really stressful time for her.
Of course. Anything to help local. That's what this island's all about anyways.
Well, hopefully we covered everything. Is there anything you
think
think
so.
we missed?
No.
Well, thank you. It's been very informative. We did not know about pawn shops till you came. We read about them. Makes sense.
Awesome.
And
Well,
we're happy you're here.
thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We're happy to be here.
We hope you enjoyed our Pine Island Experience podcast. If you have any ideas for us, people to interview, or any comments, please feel free to email them to us at pineislandexperience@gmail.com. That's pineislandexperience, all one word, @gmail.com. Don't forget to like us, and you may subscribe to this podcast using all the major catchers like Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks again for listening, and remember, island life is a constant vacation. We'll see you on the next podcast.